Hello, hello, YouTube. How y'all doing today? Today, I got my Thea 3 guide for you guys. I decided this league that my initial plan was to league start Thea 3 and then play Erica 2. Now that I know who the new hero is going to be, Bing 2, even though starting Thea 3 would still be the smartest thing to do, I am just going to be starting as Bing 2 and just pushing it all the way to SS21. That being said, I still think I might as well make this guy, because I've played a lot of TF3, I've done a lot of testing on her, and I think I'm quite knowledgeable in getting her to profound as cheaply as possible, since that was my league start plan. So, this is a written guide on Google Documents. I will have a link for everyone, and you can also just go into my stream, just type exclamation guide, and you'll see it. I don't think there's anything too difficult to understand about the guide, but there is quite a lot of just nice quality of life things in this guide. So the first thing that I decided to do is, I know as a new player, it can be very overwhelming to like understand all the forms of crafting and upgrades and so many systems in this game and stuff, like what is going on. So I start off by actually just making a section, generic information, which explains the most basic concepts in the game. And if there's any concept that just like unclear, you don't understand, that isn't in this section, just tell me and I'll add it. My goal with this generic information is it for it to be a Bible for any new player to just know exactly how to answer any question they might have for themselves without needing to ask someone. Okay. Secondly, I also have my Reap CDR and Max Channel breakpoints linked here. All that you have to know about these is they essentially show the breakpoints for certain Reap CDRs, as well as show you how much damage you gain from each Max Channel stack. That is simply just a thing for people who want to calculate the damage themselves or just know exactly what they're gaining from certain things. Okay. So you're going to find 3 sections here. The first section is going to be the campaign. In the campaign section, I do have a loot filter that I personally use, that I recommend people to use. This loot filter was only until Tarmok 7, so after Tarmok 7, you do need to swap to my endgame filter. And yeah, it's a very basic, just campaign guide, explaining what to do in the troves, explaining what skills to use at certain levels, showing the talent trees that I recommend you'd have throughout the campaign, just explaining some important notes in the campaign, as well as like the gear pieces you want to try and get and how long you're going to hold on to them. Then the time arc 1 to 8 section is a bit weird. This is going to be split up into 2 sections. One is going to be for Haunting Abomination, one is going to be for Mind Control. The reason for this is because Thea 3 starts with Haunting Abomination in the campaign, and can't really swap to Mind Control until at least level 55 when she unlocks this ability. But more realistically, you also need to get yourself some gear for the Mind Control build. I personally recommend just make it simple on yourself. Use Haunting Abomination all the way to Tarmok 7, then swap to Mind Control before you do the boss, before you do Traveler. But this is something that you can just figure out on your own. I talk about the requirements to swap, and I show you everything that you need to know for both Haunting Abomination and Mind Control to get yourself all the way to the end. That being said, I do recommend you swap to Mind Control before doing Traveler 7, because Haunting Abomination is going to start falling off around that point. Where, like, at that point, you need a big damage boost to kill Traveler 7, and you're going to have access to crafting, and you can make yourself some really strong items for the Mind Control setup. And then lastly, we have a Tarmok 8 Profound section. This is essentially what I did in my testing. I tested up until the point where I had about 300 billion DPS on TL3, and like trying to find a cheap way to do that, because I felt for myself that 300 billion DPS you can farm Profound quite cleanly, and I can like do the things I want to do. Then I can just sit in Profound for a few days, farm a ton of money, buy an Eternity, buy a Surging Inspiration, do all these things and swap to Erica 2. So this section is specifically written to achieve that goal. With that being said, this is not an endgame guide. There's some very interesting and cool things that you can do with TR3, such as the new Torch's Touch is absurdly broken. This is insanely strong. And some of the new prisms are also just very powerful. So I just talk about some generic things throughout the guide. tell you like what options you have and stuff like that. I do think this guide is very easy and straightforward to follow, but please, I do encourage people to look through it and to give feedback because I'm currently busy making another 2 guides like this, or at least 1 guide like this. Teaser is going to be my Bing guide, and I want people to be able to use this guide and just not have any questions, not be confused where to find information, not have any questions, just feel so good and strong that they can just play the game and have a good time and just enjoy themselves. But anyway, that's going to be all from me for YouTube. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys appreciate the guide. I put a lot of effort into it, and I hope that at least 2 people are going to find it useful. Thank you all so much for watching. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. And bye-bye. Bye, YouTube. Bye-bye.